And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the World Championship Series Jönköping here in Sweden. We've just wrapped up our first quarterfinal, and now it is time to find out who will face off against Cyril in the semis. It's a Zerg versus Zerg coming up. Welcome back. I am Nathanius here on the desk all weekend for you guys, joined by two handsome gentlemen, DeMuslim and Todd. DeMuslim, how'd you like that last series?
Really, really good, actually. And you know what's really good coming into a tournament like this? When the favorites really perform as well as we know they can. Cyril's pretty, I don't want to say new to the scene because he's been around for a while. Even his brother played before him. But the fact is, he's coming into his own element now, and he's just quit, or not quit school, but finished school. And he's looking like an absolute monster, man. And he said he's here not to come top four, he's here to take the tournament too.
And the fact that he got so good while going to school is actually amazing. Like, you know, there are a lot of pros out there that do it full time and that can never reach this level, but you can tell.
Looked at me when you said that.
No, I didn't. Don't put this on me. You can tell he's truly gifted. I was thinking of myself actually originally, but no, he's truly gifted, and I'm glad that we've got a player like him. You know, it's always nice to get some new rising players. Sometimes it might feel like, you know, the game is like very difficult and it's kind of hard to break out. No, just put in the work and then eventually it'll come, and those results are finally starting to show up here at the highest level. And I feel like it might be about time Cyril won a tournament, because he's been playing so well for some time now. There's been a lot of hype around him.
It's awesome to see the heroes that we cheer up deliver. And of course, another awesome set of sponsors delivering here at the WCS. Check out Asus, Republic of Gamers, and Razer. As we move forward here in the round of 8, Cham. So many people talking about him. He seemed like such a cool guy when we got to watch him play in the open area. Do you guys have a lot of experience with this guy? Have you been able to play against him maybe? Like, how much do we really know about him?
I've had the misfortune to meet him on the ladder, and it didn't go so well, but even more so, I've had to meet him at many tournaments and see him evolve now and get better. And it's also amazing, you know, I feel like for somebody from Mexico, you know, that has to play with a little bit more delay than most other players, and to be able to do so well, somehow some of these Mexican players, they manage to play on the European ladder. I don't even want to imagine like what it's like to play with like 300 ping, but they still manage to get gradually better, and this guy is really coming into form. And again, this is the second time in a row. It was the case in Austin as well, where in the top 8, we have 3 players from Latin America. That's Elazer, Special, and Cham. The last time, that was the end of the road for Elazer and Cham. Only Special made it to the top 4, but I feel like this time it might be different because these guys are on form.
And we're going to dive a little bit more into this matchup, but it is time to introduce our players. We're going to go to the main stage with Smix for our next match.
Thank you very much, Nathanius. Our second quarterfinal match is Poland versus Mexico, where we have the WCS Global semifinalists going up against an up-and-comer who broke out at WCS Austin. Please welcome, it is Elazer and Cham!
The opportunity to make history here for our Mexican Zerg player. Elazer has been a very highly talked up player over the course of 2016. We've seen a lot of him. We know he is quite the contender, but Cham, if you haven't been following the Latin American StarCraft scene extremely closely, you may not have heard of him as much. This is a monumental opportunity for him, DeMuslim, to break out and show everyone what he's got.
And it'd be a shame if you didn't hear of this man at this point in time. He's top 10 in the WCS rankings, and he's a man that epitomizes hard work. He truly is. And he's going up against a big beast here in Elazer. And honestly, it's going to be closer than people think, I'd imagine. Cham is getting really good these days. And in fact, he's definitely one of the top players. And he's shown it. He's top 8 at this year's WCS Jönköping.
Yeah, the opportunity for these players to play through the WCS system and use those local events to kind of bolster themselves up. It's nice to see some new blood coming in. We haven't, you know, Cham's not a name that came up a lot in 2016, especially not at these tournaments. Todd, what impresses you about his performance so far here?
I think the fact that he was able to bounce back from a very disappointing challenger where he lost to Bayarada in the quarterfinals, that was a ZvZ, and then said, you know what, I've been focusing too much on my Zerg versus Terran because he had to worry about Elazer and Special. I'm going to refocus in the other matchups a little bit. comes here and then beats Snoot. It doesn't get any better than that in terms of, winning a ZvZ. Now he's going up against a very strong Elazer, and hopefully he's got more tricks up his sleeve because he's going to need that.
And it's one of those things too, that series against Snoot was not planned either. That was scrappy as it gets. Went to the 5th game of the series, and he was incredibly far behind against a tournament veteran in Snoot, and he managed to pull it out the bag. So going up against Elazer, like, he's just looking at each step as it comes now, and is it possible? Is it doable? Frankly, it is, but it's going to be very, very difficult because Elazer, we can't forget how good of a player he is. Top 4 at BlizzCon.
There's a fun comparison to be made here for, the semifinalist that whoever wins this match goes up against Serral, who said, I'm here for the championship, I'm here for the crown. Has Cham already kind of succeeded for himself, do you feel here? Is it a disappointing end for him to lose to Elazer in this stage of the tournament?
Any loss is a disappointing loss. That being said, getting top 8 at this year's WCS, given how hard it's been, and the fact that he came through such a nail-biting series against Snoot, he's not going to look away and be, I'm super disappointed. But, of course, yes.
He has big ambition, but at the same time, he's realistic. When I spoke to him, Cham told me he wants to win a premier tournament eventually. Didn't necessarily think it was going to happen this year, but he said by next year for sure, or at least next year. And honestly, he's been so impressive that I wouldn't put it past him that if he started, to go to finals and stuff, but might be still a little bit early. I guess we'll find out against somebody as strong as Elazer, who entirely missed out on Austin and is already top 10 in the WCS Circuit standings, which is very impressive.
So now I have to ask, we talk about this, of course he doesn't want to lose, right? But at this point, the butterflies have to be kicking in a little bit, right? Is that the potential, maybe the nerves? He's finally getting up on this big stage to play in such an important match to Muslim?
That's the big thing, right? This is the first of the stage matches now. Up until this point, if he's playing, it's been in a dark area. There hasn't been a big crowd that he's overlooking and such. So maybe this is when Elazer truly is in his element. And man, again, you can't count out Cham, but you can't emphasize enough how good Elazer is as a player.
Yeah, very excited to see what our young Mexican Zerg player can do. He's about to face off against Elazer. Let's get into our next match.
It's fire! It is time for Elazer versus Cham. I am Maynard, with me is Pig, and if you guys aren't hyped, it's time to get there because we've had some cracker ZvZs here at this tournament.
Oh yeah, if we can see something half as crazy as the games Cham played against Snoot yesterday, then I will be in love with Zerg vs. Zerg by the end of this series. This is just going to be a big match, but it is going to be a big test for the Mexican newcomer. Of course, Pablo, he's been making a big breakout performance here, or I guess not really his breakout, but solidifying himself as a top WCS contender and really working his way up those rankings. But facing off against a guy who made it to the semifinals of BlizzCon last year, it is going to be a tough match.
Absolutely. I just got a little bit of a pause here.
We're too loud, mate.
I'm a little loud. I do have that problem.
There's too much passion. There's too much.
Yeah, forgiveness, please. I'm a little bit loud. So we're just going to have to fix this problem, guys. Looks like should be easy to fix. It's just like a noise-canceling thing, but it's been beautiful here in Jönköping. Pig and I have really enjoyed our stays. We haven't really seen as much of the town as we like, but God, we just see those pictures and we're like...
There's that one girl that's been sitting by the canal for like 3
by the
days
lake
straight
for a long
now.
time, yeah.
I'm a
little worried about her if she's going to be okay.
I haven't seen her eating anything, but I mean, those break screens, of course, showing some beautiful views around Jönköping.
There's some good lunch spots around that hotel, actually.
Dude,
So
actually
hopefully
so
someone's
nice.
bringing her, some pastries from time to time, or
Yeah.
yeah.
Of course, it's a real pleasure to be here, and for us especially, coming very long way. You've got a long way to go home, but this really is the pinnacle of StarCraft's competition, and it is such a great opportunity to see these players perform. Of course, the next event going to be Valencia in just over a month as well, before the circuit rounds up later in the year with Montreal. We've been all over the world this year, and we will continue to see the best StarCraft players in the world separate themselves from the rest of the pack.
Yeah, and it's starting to really shape up. The top 30 has been moving and shaking up and down. Of course, we still have our regular players at the top. Neeb, of course, #1 still. But Serral, chomping at the bit. Very, very close there in second place after a great tournament show up here. And it's going to be really cool to see what Elazer can do here in his actually first WCS offline event this year, because he didn't make it to Austin.
Yeah.
But he may not even need Austin here. He may not need those points. If he can go all the distance here And Cham, he's looking to have a career best show up here. He managed to make it to the round of 8 in Austin, didn't get further than that. So this is a history-making moment for both players. All right, we're in it. The game has begun. In the top left, hailing from Poland, this is Elazer. And someone we would normally consider the underdog in this series. But is he? This is OSC Roots Cham.
Kicking things off here on Odyssey. It is going to be hatchery first for both players, neither one wanting to open up too cheeky. Elazer did say yesterday in his series against Scarlet that he felt like they were very similar mechanically and strategically, and he wanted to surprise her. He wanted to make sure he had a plan for every single map. He threw out a lot of aggressive builds, trying to surprise her, and he did manage to close that series out 3 wins to 2. Here against Cham, opening up a little bit more conservatively, maybe feeling confident to just take the game through to that mid game and use that superior experience and those young Polish hands that are so fast on that keyboard.
Yeah, he is without a doubt one of the greatest foreigners to have touched the game is Elazer, and Cham's looking to solidify that kind of accolade, I suppose, that pedigree of being that upper echelon of players in the history of StarCraft 2. And he's really just, both players are better now than they ever have been. Even Elazer, he's made it all the way to BlizzCon. He was the last surviving foreigner, making it all the way into Dark. I remember the final series there, but it just hasn't been able to, win the giant finals yet. And this is definitely a tournament where I could see either of these players getting all the way to the grand final. That said, though, they will have Serral to face at some point, which is a tall order.
That's definitely the challenge for a lot of these guys. Interestingly, Elazer here has actually opened up with 6 Zerglings very early off his hatchery first, is sneaking them around the edge of the map, and he's going for a very fast Baneling nest, wanting to start off with some very hard-hitting Zergling Baneling aggression. Meanwhile, Cham actually was playing very conservatively at home, was building a Spine Crawler, which I believe he canceled just before it finished. Yes, he did. And he's just going to go for a 3rd base now, realizing there's no 13-12 fast 1-base Ling Bane all-in action coming his way.
Yeah, there could be a little bit of action, though, depending on what Elazer wants to do with these cluster of Lings that he's trying to hide up here. Speed is just about to finish for both players. Cham is looking for it, though. He's looking for any kind of, Ling drive-by that Elazer does have parked. We know with our caster cam, with our God Vision, that there is one sort of situated at the top of the north here. Elazer sort of waiting for Cham to leave the doors of the 3rd base open so that he can either get into the natural and have a look, or just bite on that 3rd base. Never mind, it's going to be Banelings, so he is going to go for the drone lines.
Yeah, he's going to be getting some momentum here. Wants to bring the fight to Cham's side of the map. And this is a really good move against Cham. Cham showed yesterday against Snoot he loves to skip that Baneling nest. Elazer is saying, you know what's really good against someone who doesn't have Banelings of their own? A big Ling Bane attack. And he's going to be forcing his way in here. That Roach Warren is nowhere near done. Cham does not have the defense. He's only got 2 Queens to focus down those Banelings. I don't think it's going to be enough. There's still 2 Banelings left here. Great connection so far. Elazer's Zergling count starting to get whittled down to that single Baneling, just zoning out all of the Zerglings of Cham. And Elazer, he's getting close to that mineral line. He's looking for the damage. Cham's micro actually so impressive. I don't know how he hasn't lost all of his units yet, but somehow he manages to hang on, and he's still up 1 worker.
I'm glad you said it, because I was about to. That micro from Cham was incredible, and this is giving him time to get that Roach Warren up and to get those Roaches out, which are going to be his answer against any more Baneling pressure. When you see that there are 2 more being made here, Elazer trying to get those big connections. Cham breaking off those Lings, getting them out of the control group, trying to pick off those Banelings, not managing to get success so far. Roaches are starting to get hatched, though, here for Cham. He just needs to hold on.
He needs to protect that work line.
Oh, beautiful!
Detonates on only a single Zergling. Cham, he's gonna, he even gets his drones away from those Zerglings. Roaches are out. Elazer's attack has run out of steam here. The last couple of Banelings and Zerglings coming in, but Cham repels it, hangs on, his economy intact, and he is up in the work account. He's got the 3rd base finished. He's got Roaches out, and this is very impressive. I did not expect the Mexican Zerg player to be able to defend such a fierce attack. That really was something which was planned to take advantage of Cham's weakness. It is a situation where you say, if you're facing a Elazer and he does a pressure like that, you need perfect micro to hang on, but that is exactly what Cham pulled out there.
Absolutely right. Now, Cham's found himself in a position where his third is complete. He's ready to use that lava, whereas Elazer is just about to finish up now. So he has a little bit extra production and already an advantage in army size with those roaches being that big, beefy, tanky force. Could deal with so many lings on their own. Going for a bit of a run by here is Cham. He's going to have a look at the natural and get a ling in the main to see the tech. Sees no lair, sees the Baneling nest.
Good scouting there from Cham. Just keeping up to date on what he is playing against. He's droning quite hard behind that Elazer. 9 more Banelings in that production tab. He's preparing for a huge Ling Bane attack. He wants to surprise Cham, but Cham has actually built 14 roaches already. Cham is actually very well prepared for this, Maynard.
He is, and he's actually face-tanking these Banelings right now, kiting a little bit now with the roaches. The roaches from the third coming in to help. He does have a Sim City as well for these roaches to help out against the Lings and Banes. Will it be enough? It looks like Cham may be able to hold here with these roaches. The Queen coming in to help from the natural as well. More roaches hatching and waddling down from the main. But the Ling count of Elazer may be able to break Cham here. He's going to definitely start to count into that drone count.
Wow, such a huge Ling Bane all in here from Elazer. Just going such a surprising attack, knowing he was down, but realizing that Cham would not have any Banelings of his own. And Elazer, with the surprise Ling Bane attack, actually manages to take it out.
Looked very dicey for Elazer there for a bit. I thought, these roaches should be okay, but they did get a lot of splash damage on them from those Banelings. They do eventually die to, the units that they're meant to counter. And that flood of Lings from Elazer, so decisive. He knew, hey, I'm going to win this engagement if I stick around. This isn't going to be an overextension. This is a game-winning move here. And that's showing the mastery of this matchup from the Polish Zerg.
Just not quite enough roaches there for Cham. Of course, quite a wide open area between that natural and third. And even though I love the wall off from Cham with those evolution chambers, trying to get that up to limit the surface area, the Banelings just crashing into clumped up roaches actually did decently. And they knocked the wall down, and once those Zerglings got the surround, it was this kind of, there's like that tipping point, right? Where if he had maybe 3 or 4 more roaches, I think Cham hangs on, Elazer's held, it's over.
Yeah.
That's all in.
Or if the wall was made a little bit earlier, just had a few more hit points. A lot of things could have helped out Cham there, but as it stands, he is currently 0-1 in this series. That's ZvZ, a bit more like the ZvZs you tend to expect, where there's a lot of early aggression or tricky maneuvers. And Cham centering himself, getting ready for that second map, which will be Blood Boil.
Finding your focus when you are in such a high-pressure situation, especially right after losing a map, can be very difficult. But these players have had quite a few experiences up on these stages before. And of course, Blood Boil, the next map, is going to be a very dicey one. Both players are going to have to be very much on top of their mental game to choose the correct build order to adapt to what their opponent's doing. Because there is a very attractive gold base on this next map, and it's going to be interesting to see who opts to go for that.
Yeah, we will have to see. I mean, Blood Boil is one of those more interesting maps where you do have that pocket expansion and there's many bases with much more mineral patches or less gas or more gas. And there is, of course, that fourth base where a lot of the action tends to be in other matchups. But with ZvZ, sometimes you don't see a fourth base. Sometimes it just comes down to the 3 hatcheries. But yeah, we'll see.
I have heard of some Zergs going for that as their natural, that gold base, playing super greedy, just going crazy, trying to take a risk to get that big lead.
I've seen some Zergs make a proxy hatch all the way at like the 4th base location against their opponent, like at the opponent's 4th with their hatchery and attacking from there. But
you've been watching Bly, I guess.
Well, actually, I think that might have been I think it was a Korean player. I think it actually might have been Su.
Oh, wow.
AFB.
Su's a cheeky guy, actually. He's always got some of those aggressive builds. One of the players who never gave up on the 13-12 in Zerg vs. Zerg, and of course...
He's had a bit of cats training as well.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. When you got the captain and leader of OST Root whispering in your ear, you know about all of the cheeky tricks. And of course, Pablo here, he is on Root, and he has definitely been talking to his teammates and hearing from Cats, maybe thinking about some cheeky build orders that he can make work in this series. He is down 1 map, though. He's going to have to win a couple here to get it back on the board.
So hard to be sneaky and cheeky on this map, especially against a player of this caliber. In the bottom right, hailing from Poland, this is Elazer. And in the top left from Mexico on OSC route, this is Cham. Elazer going for a bit of a cheeky opener here, as we were talking about cheekiness.
Yeah, it's going to be a 12 pool, not something we see too often on Blood Boil. But Cham just going to be going for hatchery first on that front base. He's going to be very exposed to this early Zergling rush. Now, guys, there is no gas with this, so Elazer's goal here is to rush with about 10 to 12 Zerglings and do a lot of damage. He wants to either deny the expansion of Cham or kill a whole lot of workers while taking his own expansion behind it. This is a big commitment, though. It's going to come down to the micro. Cham is going to need to pull workers to defend, and it's going to be very dicey to see whether or not he can control that hatchery, whether or not he can defend that. Elazer's just going to put the pressure on hard and fast.
That's right. It's going to all come down to control. I don't know what that is. It's a dead Marine.
I think it's a Zealot, actually.
Oh,
the
maybe
shape of its body. I thought it was a Marine at first, then I was like, it looks really weird. I'm not
God.
Or maybe it's just some rocks. Maybe we're both just blind or imagining things. I don't even know.
Really morbid. Thank you, Marpu, for showing us that. Of course, shout out to our observers, Marpu and Coca. They have been doing a great job all weekend long. It's just the round of 8 today, all the way to the finals. Final stretch. Here we go.
Gas pool for Cham. He went for a bit of a slightly greedier side of builds. Not a fast spawning pool. Is he going to try and defend these Zerglings? If so, he's going to need to pull his drone straight away. He could. Yeah, he's going to. Okay, he's pulled off gas. He started Zergling speed. He's building Zerglings queens, and he's going to try and delay these Zerglings. He just wants to dance back and forwards and force them to stop attacking that hatchery. But he can't fight the Zerglings once there's too many out. Ooh, gets almost a little bit of a surround on some of those, but the drone's starting to take a lot of damage. Cham taking so much damage on these workers. He needs to wait for the Zerglings before he fights this.
Yeah, they're getting very, very low here. Control so far, so good for Cham, but Elazer does have a bit of surround with a very superior link count. He needs these queens and his own links to come out to defend, and he does it. Decide to engage, pulling back some of the hurt drones. Nice control from Cham, but there's so many links here from Elazer. He's killing. Oh my! He killed 10 drones, Pig.
Drone massacre there. Elazer takes out so many of Cham's workers, and Cham's hatchery had so many hit points. He could have bought more time, but here under pressure, he got a little bit overeager. He thought he could take the engagement, but he actually wasn't able to do it. He also didn't bring his queen down to the natural. Two things which could have made that go a lot easier for Cham there. But now at 9 workers against 24, Cham has only one choice, and that is to go all in with speedlings. Elazer doesn't have gas. He doesn't have his own Zerglings, but he's just got so much more stuff. This is going to be so hard for Cham to break through.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. He has more queens for injects as well. He's more lavas and the defender's advantage. Everything is stacked in Elazer's favor right now. Let's see what Cham can do. Speed is done. The legs beginning the onslaught with more flooding across the map. Looks like Elazer's going to sneak in as well while Cham's outside.
26 workers to 9. Elazer has a massive economy lead. Cham needs to not only destroy this hatchery, he needs to do more. He needs to break that ramp. But the drone's on hold position on the ramp. Elazer actually blocks the surface area and says there is no way you are breaking this ramp. Cham looking for the damage. He's going to start focusing down the hatchery. But the queens, slow Zerglings, and drones all together are more than a match for these speedlings. Cham just going to try and run past into that main base.
Yeah, he is in the main base, and he has more lings, of course, to assault the natural while the lings in the main are doing damage. He's winning the assault here on the lings of Elazer and going for the drone line. But new, fresh lings from Elazer are hatching. The drones being well controlled from him to help in the fight, and he is defending very strongly so far. Cham running out of steam here with this attack.
Oh, these Zerglings managing to get a nice little surround there on Elazer's lings as they rally out, but he needs more than this. Cham is still down 9 workers to 21. He started to drone behind this. He's found a little bit of damage, but it hasn't quite been enough.
Yeah, he is still down. There's so many workers here. Rough spot here for Cham. He's continuing to send in lings to Elazer. He gets past the 3 queens at the front door, and he's looking for more drone kills. Going to get whatever he can, but he needs to kill like 10 drones to be looking good in this game.
Elazer here showing his class, just getting so far ahead off that early attack, and now here with fantastic defense against this attack. The queens, they've locked the door. The Zerglings all getting trapped.
You check in, but you can't check out those lings. Final things they ever see are the inside of Elazer's main. And Cham's just running around the outside here, trying to do whatever he can. I mean, that ling is all but forfeit, and that is going to be it for this attack from Cham. He is droning. He's trying to... looks like he wants to wall off here against a possible counterattack. That's, you know, everything is in Elazer's pocket right now. He can do whatever he wants. From this, the game is his right now to make a mistake.
Absolutely. Of course, It takes a lot of experience and control under pressure to defend these sorts of rushes. Elazer knew that. Elazer knew that one of his own strengths is aggressive micro, and he managed to take that big lead early on with that massive drone kills. Now, Elazer calmly is going to be building up. He's got Zergling speed about to finish. He's going to be putting pressure back onto Cham while transitioning into Roaches and a gold base behind it. Elazer in the driver's seat, and what does Cham have at home? He did build a spine crawler, but no, I think he canceled it. And now he's got nothing. The Zergling's rushing across. The Overlord got killed by the Queen, so he only spots it as it's outside his base. That's too late. Yeah, he's only just got the Evo chamber down, but already that Roach Warren getting dangerously low on hit points.
Yeah, these Lings, there's just way too many. They're going to break through this wall eventually in time. This one Queen doing what she can, but Elazer is going to continue to the onslaught. He can lose a few Lings here to this Queen and not have to worry about it at all. Cham doing what he can with this wall, and he is slowing him down, and transfuses as well. But Cham
the creep tumor is going to block the final bit of wall. There's an opening. There's an opening. And
he comes. That's going to be it for Cham. And that's Elazer taking a 2-0 lead here in the series. Oh, already finding himself on match point, and he looks so confident.
That was kind of a peace symbol, kind of a scissors symbol from Scissors Paper Rock. Not exactly sure what that one was, but honestly, Elazer is just confident. He comes into this almost impetuous, and there's a good reason for it. He is back. He is strong. You know, he was tweeting during challenges saying, I am back. I might not have qualified for Austin, but I am going to destroy the rest of this year. And really, the only player we have seen step in his way since then has been Serral. Other than that, no one has been able to put a dent in him. And Cham here, I mean, he's been looking so good in the start of that first game, but in this second one, that was a real hit to his confidence, just losing that way. So this next map, this is his last chance to bring it back. He's gonna have to win 3 maps in a row now if he wants to go through to the semifinals. Elazer, though, wants to go through with that 3-0.
That's right. It would be one of the sickest comebacks I've seen, and one of the biggest upsets I've seen in this tournament, which has already been, addled with upsets from start to finish. It's been happening across the board. Will Cham be able to keep that trend going by turning heads and raising eyebrows out there? When you look at these two players, no one would be expecting Cham to come through ahead. I mean, ZvZ is historically a very volatile matchup. Usually people always say, oh, it's 50-50 no matter what. But it really is not. When you're the better player, it does shine through, regardless of the volatility.
Yeah, I mean, volatility is something, but you've really got to speak to Elazer's experience here when you look at how he's playing this series. We've seen Cham be a little bit predictable. This is often what happens when a player comes onto the scene. They've gotten really good at a relatively narrow skill set of builds. Elazer has had a chance to study these. As you get to these final stages of the tournament, your opponents have spent all night watching your VODs. They've watched your replays and they know your patterns. And Elazer, he took advantage of him with the Banelings in game 1, saying, I know you're going to skip Banelings. I know this has a good chance of working. Game number 2, he went for that 12 pull against that hatch first. I would not be surprised if Elazer continues this pattern of picking apart Cham's builds.
And Cham looking like he's going to be sneaky here, but let's introduce our players first. In the top left here, on match point, this is Elazer. Winning over some of that Swedish crowd with his confidence, with his sick play. And on the bottom right, this is Cham. So hard to find it in yourself to come back from this situation, and Cham decides, hey, I'm going to go for an early pull myself to see if I could put on the hurt in the early game and take the reins at the beginning of this third map here on a possible elimination map here for Cham. He's desperate to put a mark on the board.
Sick of being bullied, man. Elazer's been pushing him around the schoolyard, and right now he's saying, enough is enough. I am going to be the one attacking you. I'm sick of just sitting back and defending. Look, you clearly have been studying my build orders. You're just slightly finding these edges. I'm going to go for the 12 pull. I'm going to turn it upside down. And this time around, it is an exact role reversal from last game. Hatch gas pull for Elazer, 12 pull for Cham. So Cham, once again, looking for the damage. The question is, can Elazer defend this better than Cham did?
And we're going to find out within a few seconds here as Cham's first Link's getting across the map. The first Overlord of Elazer seeing this attack straight through the middle. Cham didn't try to hide it at all. He's going for speed. He's going the distance. He wants to go into this base as quickly as possible. And Elazer has to decide. He's going to have to pull drones if he wants to save this hatchery.
Those Zerglings are most certainly wearing short skirts and a long jacket, Maynard. They're going to be coming in there and starting to work on that hatchery. Elazer, how is he going to respond? Is he going to pull drones? No, a very different response. He's actually just going to hole up in his main, except that hatchery is going to go down, or actually...
the drones are being pulled here a little bit late, though.
Okay, so he's just bought a little bit more time. This way he started an extra queen, but he has to fight right now with these drones. That hatchery is dangerously low, Maynard.
It's
he
in the
needs
red.
to fight right now.
And Cham's dancing around the outside, getting the nibbles on the north of this hatchery. It's getting very, very low. Cham's going to pick it off. Great start there for Cham, and Elazer's workers all off the line. He's knocked down to one base while Cham's getting his hatchery finished back at home.
Not as devastating as the damage that Elazer did, but still a good win there for Cham. Cham has 2 hatcheries up. He's got queens already out and on the way, and he's tied up in workers here, so very nice play from Cham. Elazer, even though he mined 100 gas, he could not afford to keep the link speed going. He's just focusing on droning up and getting that hatchery back down. So both players are just going to be recovering from here, building up that worker count, and there's a good chance they might just go straight on into roach play from here.
Yeah, very likely. Elazer backing up some gas just now, spending it. And Cham, he is going to be sitting pretty for now, having a bit of a lava advantage, having inject advantage, having the queen advantage for a little while here. Bit of a scuffle in the middle of the map, but we're going to see the tech drop down pretty shortly here for both players.
The Zerglings of Elazer here, still having the superior numbers on the map. They're going to be able to chase Cham away. Cham just looking to keep him back for now, trying to threaten, and he would love to scout what the follow-up is from Elazer. Wants to get in that base, see if there's a Zergling speed, which, by the way, Zergling speed got restarted and then canceled once again.
Yeah, it looks like Elazer is going to probably bank a ton of gas.
Is he going to fake it? The Zerglings are going to come in, but no, he's not going to fake it. Elazer just showing that he is not interested in that Zergling speed right now. Bit of a tell there. Cham is going to say, okay, I don't need to worry about any aggression right now. And his response to that immediately starts up a lair and a second gas. It is Mutalisks that are on the menu for Cham.
2 base muted from Cham. He's going to get that 4th gas as well very, very shortly here. And Elazer going to use that gas bank. Looking like it's going to be, he's getting a lair of his own back home. And Cham's dropping a Roach Warren as well. Roach and Muted.
I mean, that's been a pattern he showed against Snoot. He likes to go for the Roaches and their upgrades, but almost always going for Mutas behind it as well. So wouldn't be surprised to see that same sort of pattern here. Of course, with no evolution chamber on the way, I really do think it's just a very defensive couple of Roaches straight into Mutas is the big focus for Cham. But we'll have to see how he chooses to play it out. Nice interception on those Zerglings. The Queens saying, you are not allowed in this club right now. Protecting their drones.
Cham turning up to 11 here, completely stumping all of us by dropping a Nidus Canal with his gas instead of dropping that Spire.
The Zerglings
going to see it. Oh, man.
The Roach Warren isn't done yet for Elazer. Even though he spots this, there's still a lot of Queens with Transfuse that are going to be popping out of that Nidus Worm. A lot of Roaches as well. Look at this Elazer panicking. He's dropping Spine Crawlers right now at the front of his natural. He realizes he needs to do just nothing but building Roaches, and he's going to be supply blocked in a moment, so he's starting up Overlords. He's only got his +1 range on the way. Elazer is in full panic mode right now. He needs to stop this Nidus Worm.
The Nidus looks like it is going to pop up here, and Elazer sees it with his Overlord between the 3rd and the natural. So he is going to get his units out. He has a very solid defensive position at that natural.
He's trying to make Ravages. He wants to Corrosive Bile that Nidus Worm the moment it pops. Are they ready, though? They're not all in range. Instead, he's just going to launch it on top of the Queens. Elazer with a fantastic concave here. Bad position for Cham. Already losing a couple of his Queens. Not going quite as he wanted. Oh, Elazer's defense is on point.
Very awkward spot for the Nidus Worm, and Elazer muscling through this attack so far.
Cham not finding that opening he wanted. He's going to launch another Nidus Worm into that main base, but these Queens and Roaches starting to get cornered here. The transfuse from Elazer is good, and it looks like he is going to overwhelm these units.
Oh man, Elazer is just so good at this game, Pig. Capitalizing on any small mistake Cham can make. He does have one more shot here to unload Roaches into the main, and the main is actually the weakest place in Elazer's base. The natural, very solid with these Spine Crawlers, but the main mineral line getting decimated by these Roaches.
Couple of drones do go down, but the Roaches and Ravages coming back, and it's Elazer with the numbers right now, looking focused as ever in that booth. He wants this semi-final spot, and he does not want anything to stand in his way. Cham desperately trying to unload, but the Nidus Worm falls. Maynard, Cham is not able to make it happen with this Nidus Worm.
That's right, he has a ton of workers, but not a whole lot left for Cham at all. As far as army goes, and Elazer with this nice advantage, is going to pull back. He has his third hatchery, he has the worker count, he has the army count, and he's going to be sitting pretty for a little while here.
Cham is on the edge of defeat here in this WCS, but he does not want to throw in the towel yet. Look at that worker count. He's still even in workers, but he is way down in those upgrades and way down in that unit count, and only now starting at third base. This is going to be a long road to recovery for Cham, but it is nothing that we can count him out for yet, because we saw Cham yesterday. We saw him bring it back against Snoot from a similar position. His Nidus Worm was held, and he somehow found a way back into that game. Is he going to be able to make it happen here against Elazer?
Time will tell here. Cham just going to try and solidify his economy back at home, hopefully not take any damage from Elazer. And meanwhile, Elazer is just, he knows he's not going to be attacked. He knows he's completely fine for now. And with +2 attack range here, the most important upgrade at ZvZ, going to be way, way earlier for Elazer here. And that superior economy and that superior army is going to be looking very good on the defense, as Cham looks like he's going to try and see what he can get done at this third hatchery.
He's going to try and look for something over there. Hasn't been spotted just yet, I don't believe. Elazer, oh no, he does have enough roaches in position there. At the same time, Elazer moving out into the middle of the map. We'd love to pincer these roaches and ravages. Elazer coming in with a great maneuver. He wants to catch him on the retreat, and he's going to be able to do it, even launching corrosive piles preemptively. Does manage to do that, but only a few ravages there. His roaches weren't able to get in position. Most of Cham's units are going to make it home, but this is a big force from Elazer.
Yeah, 20 extra supply and army for Elazer here, and most of it is at the front door of Cham. He's going to use that high ground to bully back Elazer. Corrosive pile shots going down everywhere. Picking off an Overlord of Cham, nice little pickoff, but of course, it's all about this roach engagement and the Ravager's connections.
Spire was the key in the match against Snoot, where Cham came back, but this time he does not have that Spire. It's just roaches versus roaches. When you're down 20 supply and your opponent's +2 range is about to kick in, it becomes a very scary business.
Ooh.
Desperation, Nidus Worm. Cham gonna try and pop some roaches out into the main of Elazer to pick him off, but Elazer, he might just say, nah, he might just jump it up with his base. Is Cham gonna base trade this Maynard?
I mean, there's no army at home to defend anymore. He's just gonna let Elazer attack him. Meanwhile, he is in the main, and all of Elazer's text there, but that said, though, Elazer just has an overwhelming army, and he's going straight for the throat of Cham, while Cham trying to do the same to the Polish Zerg.
Cham trying to find victory in the chaos here. He knows he can't match Elazer's numbers in a straight-up battle, but maybe in the chaos he can find a way to make this work. He's already evacuated drones from 2 of his bases. He's starting to knock down all of the roaches as they pop out, starting to work on this economy, but Elazer setting up a strong point at his third base. He wants to defend that third. Roaches, Queens, and a Spine Crawler are making a very good account of themselves, and Cham's supply is starting to drop. Elazer's superior economy just rallying out far too many units, and it looks like Elazer here cutting into Cham's army. Takes him out.
Well played. God, what a one-sided series there from Elazer. 3-0 against Cham, who has such a promising showing in this matchup, in this tournament, turning heads and upsetting people with that wonderful series against Snoot. But Elazer making mincemeat of him and sorting him out in a very swift 3-0 victory.
Such impressive play there from the Polish Zerg. We knew he was the favorite going into it, but after Cham's impressive showing yesterday, we thought it might have been a little bit closer than that, but Elazer confident, going in there with some very well-prepared builds in those first few games and some fantastic defense in the final one.
Well played to Elazer, and let's go to an interview with Sue on the stage.
Thank you very much, guys. Elazer, congratulations. You're moving on to the semifinal. Earlier on, when I spoke to you at this event, you said that because you missed WCS Austin, you felt some pressure, like you needed to make at least top 8 here, but you've done one step better. Now you're making the top 4, so you must feel so proud of yourself.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm happy with top 4, but as I said earlier, my bracket wasn't extremely hard, and the tough matches are just coming. So before the tournament, I was saying Cyril and Major are the best players here, and this is the players I will face now. So I'm a bit scared for.
So let's talk about Cyril a little bit. I know that you faced him a lot recently at the WCS Jönköping qualifier as well as the WCS Valencia qualifier, and he's actually the player that beat you in the finals. So how badly do you want to get revenge on him?
I want to get revenge, but it's hard. He's very, very good. And obviously I'm waiting for the revenge, but I didn't have to wait for too long. It was a couple of weeks, just, I'm not sure. He's beatable, but it's just extremely hard.
And knowing you're going up against such a tough opponent, how do you practice the ZvZ like that? Because obviously Europe is known for having so many great Zerg players, but a lot of people actually say you and Serral are the best Zerg players. So in that case, how do you prepare and practice?
I think I'm a bit different than Serral. Serral is just a super solid player, always playing pretty much the same, quite predictable, again, in my opinion, but the way I practice is just study a lot of my opponents and always prepare the builds. So, for example, this series, like the builds maybe looked very bad. I know they were bad, but I knew they will work with Cham because I studied his replays and I knew his weaknesses.
Well, with that 3-0, you will be moving on to the semifinals. So congratulations again. And with that, our first semifinal match is set. It will be Elazer versus Serral.
Play by Serral, or by Elazer, excuse me, taking out Cham to move on to face Serral in the first semifinal of the day here at WCS Jönköping. He brought the heat, did not give Cham much leg room in those early game phases to get himself up and running for a macro game, and then defending that relentless Nidus attack in the final map. Guys, amazing gameplay by Elazer, but even he wasn't ready to say, oh yeah, I'll beat Serral. He's like, well, he's beatable, but...
Well, that's the thing. If you actually look at their record as of late, I think Serral has a big win rate against Elazer. But very nice of Elazer to say, like, that he respects Serral so much, and it's going to get tough for him now, and he even said he's kind of scared about it. So, yeah, quite modest of him, actually.
Yeah, they met twice, Serral and Elazer, in the Challenger finals over in Europe, and both times it went Serral's way. Might be a good time for Elazer to turn the tide, though, here in the semifinals, but I guess we'll see about that later on. Cham, a little bit disappointing for sure. I'm sure he'll be back stronger. 2 top 8 in a row in the first WCS Circuit events. Not bad. He'll be back stronger as well.
For sure. One lovely thing also to see in Elazer's play, and this is why he's been so successful for quite some time, he said the way that he likes to practice, or he's obviously very good at practice. He's one of the top 3 players on the ladder with above 7k MMR, but he's also a series player. You get to see the builds that he's using, he's studying his opponents. I really noticed it against Scarlet too. He set the tempo of the series and really went very extreme on the aggression side. So when he went extreme on the macro side, Scarlet had to play safe. She didn't know what he was doing. So Elazer's a very smart player.
Europe is back.
Europe is back indeed. As you guys can see, this is the bracket updated. Serral facing off against Elazer is going to be our first semifinal, but before we get there, we have 2 more matches in the round of 8 to go. Thermal is going to be facing off against Kelazor in a TVT. That is what's going to be coming up next. We'll be right back after this break with Terran versus Terran.